Let's start this lecture with some concepts related to supply chain management. A supply chain was defined as a network of all the individuals, organizations, resources, activities, and the technology involved in the creation and sale of a product, from the delivery of the source material to the manufacturer through its eventual delivery to the end users. It applies to the entire chain of production and the use of physical products. The chain can link a number of entities beginning with raw material suppliers through manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, and customers. More recently, the term supply chain has been used in the connection of information and communications technology, ICT. The National Institute of Standards and Technology defines the term ICT supply chain as the linked set of resources and processes between the acquirer, integrators, and suppliers that begins with the design of the ICT products and services and extends through the development, sourcing, manufacturing, handling, and delivery of the ICT products and services to the acquirer. Supply chain management is the active management of supply chain activities to maximize customer value and achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. It represents a planned initiative by the enterprises to develop and run supply chains in the most effective and efficient ways possible. Supply chain activities include everything from product development, sourcing, production, and logistics to the information systems needed to coordinate these activities. The figure here on this slide shows a typical sequence of elements involved in the supply chain management. The first element is demand management. It recognizes all demands for goods and services to support the marketplace. It involves prioritizing demand when supply is lacking. The second element is supplier qualification. It provides an appropriate level of confidence that suppliers, vendors, and contractors are able to supply consistent quality of materials, components, and services in compliance with the customer and regulatory requirements. And the third one is supplier negotiation. In this process of formal communication, two or more people come together to seek mutual agreement on issues. And the fourth element is sourcing, procurement, and contract management. Sourcing refers to the selection of suppliers, while procurement is a formal process of purchasing goods and services. Contract management is a strategic management discipline employed by both buyers and sellers whose objectives are to manage the expectations and relationships between them. The fifth element is logistics and inventory control. Logistics refers to the process of strategically managing the procurement, movement, and storage of materials, parts, and finished inventory. And inventory control is the tracking and accounting of procured materials. The sixth element is invoice, reconciliation, and payment, which refers to as the process of paying for goods and services. And the final element here is supplier performance monitoring. It includes the method and techniques for collecting information to be used to measure or rank a supplier performance on a continuous basis. Supply chain risk management, as CRM, is the coordinated efforts of an organization to help identify, monitor, detect, and mitigate threats to supply chain continuity and profitability. In essence, a CRM applies the techniques of risk assessment to the supply chain. As shown in this figure on the slide, threats can come from either an adversarial source that intends deliberate harm, or from a non-adversarial source, which is an unintentional threat. On the other hand, vulnerabilities in the supply chain can be external or internal to the organization. Once the threats and vulnerabilities are determined, it is possible to estimate the likelihood of threats being able to exploit the vulnerability and produce harm. Risk assessment then involves determining the impact of the occurrence of various threat events. Supply chain risk management is a part of the organization's overall risk management process. The National Institute of Standards and Technology special publication, Managing Information Security Risk, provides a risk management model, which is shown here on the slide. As you can see from the figure, the model consists of 3 tiers. The first tier is engaged in the development of the overall supply chain management strategy and the determination of organization level supply chain management strategy risks. It also involves the setting of the organization-wide strategy policies to guide its activities in establishing and managing supply chain management capability. The second tier is engaged in prioritizing the organization's mission and business functions and conducting mission and business level risk assessment. It also involves implementing Tier 1 strategy and guidance to establish an overarching organizational capability to manage supply chain risks. Furthermore, Tier 2 also includes guiding organization-wide acquisition and their corresponding system development lifecycles. Finally, Tier 3 is involved in the specific supply chain management activities applied to individual information systems and information technology acquisitions. In the blog post, Classification of the Sources of Supply Chain Risks and Vulnerabilities, Richard Welding provides the categories of supply chain risk areas. Supply chain risks in general terms are either external or internal. The external risks include demand, supply, and environmental risks. Demand and supply risks refer to the disturbances to the flow of products, information, or cash from within the supply chain. Environmental risks indicate the risks associated with the external or uncontrollable events. The internal risks includes the processes, controls, and contingency. Process refers to the sequences of value-adding and managerial activities undertaken by the firm. Control indicates the rules, systems, and procedures that govern how an organization exerts control over the process and resources. Contingency refers to the existence of a prepared plan and the identification of resources that are mobilized in the event of the risk being identified. The National Institute of Standards and Technology's special publication provides examples of threat considerations and different methods that can be used to characterize in supply chain threats. The considerations and methods are organized by tiers and provides the systematic way of approaching the threat analysis. As addressed earlier, threats are characterized either adversarial or non-adversarial. The special publication also provides possible adversarial threat events to ensure that organizations consider all threats in their threat analysis. The adversarial threat events are broken down into 7 distinct areas. Along with threats, the special publication also provides guidance on tier-based analysis of supply chain vulnerabilities. This table here on this slide provides a systematic way of working down from Tier 1 through Tier 3 to consider all vulnerabilities and related methods. Furthermore, the special publication also provides a comprehensive list of security controls for supply chain risk management. These controls are organized as the following families shown on this slide. We have introduced all the control families in previous chapters except for the provenance family. The concept of provenance relates to the fact that all systems and components originate at the same point in the supply chain and can be changed throughout their existence. There are 3 security-related controls in the provenance family, which deals with the creating and maintaining provenance within the supply chain. The objective is to enable enterprise agencies to achieve greater traceability in the event of an adversary, which is critical for the understanding and mitigating risks. The 3 security controls in this family include provenance, policy, and procedures, tracking provenance and developing a baseline, auditing roles responsible for provenance. To sum up, supply chain risk management must be conducted as part of the organization risk management function. A Chief Information Security Officer must be ultimately responsible for overseeing risk management and risk assessment of all the functions in the organization, including supply chain risk management. Next, we're going to introduce a specific type of external provision in the supply chain, which is cloud computing. This is an increasingly prominent trend in many organizations. Enterprise cloud computing involves moving a substantial portion or even all of the IT operations to an internet-connected infrastructure. To understand cloud computing better, let's watch the following video together.
What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is a revolution in how computing power is delivered to business. It's been made possible by very large-scale data centres connected to high-speed, low-cost broadband networks. Today's users require 24/7 secure access to more business apps, on more devices, wherever they are. Demands on IT are skyrocketing. It's no wonder traditional on-site computer facilities are struggling to keep up. With cloud computing, you only pay for what you use. Gone are the traditional IT bottlenecks, which means no more waiting. Gone are computer rooms full of servers and data storage, firewalls and routers along with the team to support it. Gone is the need to constantly invest in upgrades and rebuilds. Instead, by plugging your blue cable into the wall, you access exactly what your business needs, including all the support and expertise paid for as a service. History reveals a similar shift happened in the way business used power at the turn of the century. In the late 1890s, every factory or business had in its basement a smoke-belching, fuel-consuming power generator, stoked by grey boiler-suited men, who serviced it and kept it running as best they could. When things worked, they worked nicely. But when they didn't, which was quite often, the machines ground to a halt, the lights went out, and nothing got done. Chicago 1900. The Edison Power Company developed the turbine power station, which could generate and distribute large-scale power to business. This provided cheaper, more reliable and cleaner power than any factory or business-based generator, without many of the headaches. By 1920, most businesses had made the switch. Business now accessed power simply by plugging into the wall. In-house power generation no longer made sense. Today, we take virtually unlimited power for granted. We can't imagine it any other way. As we speak, a similar revolution is happening in IT, called cloud computing. Business no longer has to buy, build, and manage costly computer facilities on site. Just as business learned that power provided by a specialised power company improved reliability and quality, cloud computing has proven to be more secure, more reliable, more scalable, and ultimately more affordable than traditional on-site IT. This is why most new online and business apps are now deployed in the cloud. Just like electricity 100 years ago, a business can now access all the cloud computing infrastructure it requires as a service for all its users, wherever they are, on whatever device they use. This is called Infrastructure as a Service, IaaS for short. Your applications remain the same, but running on more reliable cloud infrastructure. This is where most businesses will start to use cloud. Apps will be migrated as existing in-house infrastructure reaches the end of its life. IaaS is the power station at the core of all cloud models. PaaS, or Platform as a Service, builds on the power of IaaS as a platform to make it easier to collaborate and develop software. SaaS, or Software as a Service, is the icing on the cake. Fully serviced software running on fully serviced infrastructure. Gone are upfront investments for new business application packages. So, cloud can be all three models with IaaS at the core.